Welcome to Endurance Noise Live. I'm Andy Noise, and this is today's endurance news. Just was on Facebook and saw this from Camille Herron. It says, it's a tremendous amount of repetitive stress doing circles on flat asphalt for 6 days. I'm hoping to become the first woman to hit 600 miles in 6 days. There's only so much you can do to prepare without overtraining. And she says, I did my master's thesis on how to optimize mechanical stress for bone health. I've used those principles my whole career to develop a training approach to be healthy, strong, fresh, and prepared. Looking forward to putting the body and mind to the test at the EMU 6-day race. And that is September 24th to the 30th. Good to hear that she's going to be out there trying it. She, of course, has the world record in the 24. I'm not sure if she's done 48-hour race, but the 6 days should be pretty exciting. Joe Fegis, a few years ago, did 6:06 in Hungary, and he became the first American to get over 600 miles. So it'll be interesting to see how Camille does. In fact, when I was in Vermont, I was talking to a Canadian guy who was one of the only 12 people, North Americans, to do 600 miles to do 500 miles, 500 miles in a 6-day race, and he did it twice, T-Schul, and so then last summer Bob Hearn became the 13th, so it'll be interesting to see what's going on with that. Looking forward to that. Speaking of other elite athletes, Goucher posted today that 12 years ago she ran in the 5,000 prelims in the Olympic Games. Days earlier, she ran the 10,000, where she was favored to win a medal since she won a bronze the year before the World Championships. The pressure was too much. I faltered, ran everybody else's race, and finished 9th. I knew my change at the medal, she put, it should be chance at a medal was over. I was devastated. And it says, with some positive love from her husband, she lined up in the 5K. It wasn't her event, but ran smart and hard and qualified for the final. A few days after that, she finished 8th in the final, leading the American continent, who had all made the 15 finals. Why does it matter? Sometimes we are so fixated on one thing, and when it doesn't go how we want it to, we think it's all over. But this 5,000, I was running for fun, allowed me to go from disappointing to a great Olympic spirit. Keep fighting. Be willing to switch focus. Don't get hung up on only one goal. There may be an opportunity and a silver lining just a few days down the road. And that's definitely the case. Some somber news in high school cross country here in California. This is kind of a gut punch. Rene Paragas, one of the true coaching legends of California, down in Saugus High School, is stepping down from the program. I met Rene when I used to hang out with Rich Gonzalez at PrepCalTrack. Great coach. Went to the LA84 training stuff. LA84, when they had the 84 Olympics, they actually made money at that Olympics, and they set up a coaching clinics, and they have a great cross-country clinics every year where they have coaches who won many state titles and all that. And I met Rene there, and so he's been coaching 16 years, but he is going to step away from 10 cross-country titles. He had 9 on the girls' side and 1 on the boys' side. He's only 44, but it's just kind of the time to do it. He's thinking that with COVID especially, he's not letting anybody down, and so he's just going to walk away from the sport and probably won't be coming back. At least that's what they were saying in the article on PrepCalTrack. So sad to see him leave, but I'm sure, he says, he's got kids, young kids, and he's trying to, be home with them. And then, of course, unfortunately, Saugus a couple years ago had a school shooting, which definitely had an impact on a lot of people. Other news, of course, COVID has been going on. There was articles on the internet on a very small study saying that, they call them net gators. We call them buffs, but I guess buff is actually a trademark term, so you might be able to get sued for it. And they're saying how buffs are terrible, that they're not even going to keep you from, you'd be better off not wearing anything with the spread of COVID. But there's a New York Times article, which you can Google, and it says that net gators actually aren't any worse than a cloth mask, and it comes down to fabric and how well it fits. And one of the bad things about the previous article was, it says that Duke study is that it might prompt people who prefer net gators to stop wearing them or any face coverings at all, and something's better than nothing. And I was wearing, mainly I was wearing the buffs net gators because I had a lot of them, and just kind of, and I don't really go anywhere. I've been using Instacart for quite some time, so I don't go into stores very often. And so I have a kind of probably going to mess me up. I have a 7-Eleven now, a quarter mile from my house, and I often stop in there because I can get a 49-cent drink and pick up other items. And so I was going in there, and they just asked. They don't even require a mask. They just say it would be nice if you wore one. And so out of respect, I do wear one. So I would wear a buff. I'd have a buff with me. And it was just always kind of super humid and hot here. It's getting wet and moist. I wasn't wearing it when I'm running. I'm not with anybody except my wife when I'm training for the most part. But I realized that wasn't working so well. So I actually went and bought myself some of those blue medical ones. And I just carry it in a little baggie. And when I have to enter stores, I slip it on real quick, go in, get my stuff. So I'm not wearing the buffs as much anymore. And plus the problem in Bakersfield, wearing the buff, it's actually kind of warm. In fact, when I went to the hospital for the first time ever on April 25th, and been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, I was wearing a buff as my face mask. And I remember being inside there, and it was a hot day in April, and in the ER, I'm stressed out. My blood pressure was super high. And later on, I realized I had a buffer around my neck, and there's a lot of temperature going on there, and so that made me even hotter. I had it on the entire time I was in the ER with the ladies taking care of me. So yeah, cover up, and then kind of wanted to end this podcast Endurance Noise Live, just kind of talking a little bit. I know I've been talking quite a bit about Joshua Cheptegei and his amazing 5K record, but there was a really good article on Let's Run, which you can Google and find out, just talking about like where did he come from? How did he become such a great runner? He's only 23, but he's already being spoken about like Emil Zapek, Haile Selassie, and Bekele, and he's even been faster than Mo Farah. Mo Farah, of course, has got nice gold medals around his neck, and this young man has been saying that he's definitely wants to be the greatest runner of all time. And with all the success, winning a world championship in 10K and in cross country, he definitely will probably have a future in the marathon. Of course, right now he crushed that 5K record, and he didn't start seriously training and running until 2018, when he was inspired by another Ugandan who won the Olympic marathon the year before, earlier that year, and they're actually from the same area near the Kenyan border. Now, that makes sense. And then, of course, he won a junior title in 2018 at the age of 17, and he's continued on to his career. And usually when people win junior titles, they definitely did have some pretty good stuff. Then he, obviously got the world record just recently, and he's also, so he's inspired in 2012. Then he finished. He went onto the track in 2016, and he got a PR in the 5,000. And then in the Olympic debut in the 10,000, he came in 6th in the 10,000 in Rio in 2016, and then did a double and ran the 8th in the 5K. 2017 is when things really started working for him. And sadly, 2017, they actually had the cross-country championships in his home country. Talk about stress and stuff. Well, he had a 12-second lead into the final 2-kilometer loop, and then he's like, hey, I'm going to win. And then his body just gave out in human conditions, and he ended up coming in 30th place. And that was definitely difficult because he was a huge star in Uganda, and so he got quite a bit about it. But then he came roaring back, and that season in 2019, he broke 13 for the 5K for the first time ever. And 2018, he got gold in the Commonwealth Games. And then he had an injury, but then he came back and set a world record for the road 15K. And then, of course, in 2019 is when he won the World Cross Country Championships and also the 10K and the track. So, been around for a while. It's interesting to see what his career is going to hold out. He definitely has the 5K on the track and the roads. He briefly had the 10K world record too. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how he does in the future. Two other topics I forgot that they were on here. One was talking about how with all the colleges, like college cross-country championships, while all the sports championships have been canceled, we're not going to have a season. And then track, of course, was canceled last year, and how that's going to impact our Olympic teams, because track and field and cross-country aren't really supported professionally very much, and so our minor leagues are really the colleges, unlike other countries where it's a club system. And so it's going to be interesting to see where our talent's going to get developed once you get out of high school, if we don't start having seasons. And also, after all this COVID, schools were already dropping across country and track, and maybe they'll be dropping even more. So hopefully maybe something will take over. Maybe we'll have more club scenes. And then lastly, to end this on a positive note, USA Track and Field had a virtual track meet for Masters meets past week or two. Should have signed up for it, but I just kind of forgot about it. Well, there was a lady, Betty Lindbergh. She's 95 years old, and she competed in 3 events and won 50 meters, 100 meters in 34 seconds. She did a 400 in 3:05, an 800 in 7:12, and a mile in 14:07, which is, I haven't been doing, that's about my fastest I could do it right now. I mean, I haven't really raced a mile, but congratulations to her. It's amazing. I hope to someday make it to those ages and maybe set some records or something. But, what I got to do, though, my first rule, stay healthy or get healthy. Be boring, not epic.